Good morning. A little bit late, but nevertheless, I am here. Only 6 minutes, whatever. All right, so today we have the Hoard of the Dragon Queen adventure campaign ready to go, underway once more. We file in the Tavern League's latest tale, the latest recounting of such. So go ahead and pour up yourself a drink, fix up some munchies, some of your food, and grab a comfortable seat. Get ready. We are hopping in.
Like pantaloons.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. You're late.
Yep, I am late.
Party Marty.
Already,
Oh,
Marty.
Oh boy.
Start
Why is
calling
that
people
such
that
an
at
auto
work.
thing to say?
Start calling people that show up late at work. Tardy
Well,
Marties.
hello, Party Marty.
I actually think that is the first time I've ever heard that.
I'm
It's
still in
interesting.
school, okay?
Yeah, I don't know how to react because I've never heard that before.
I haven't.
I
Party
don't
Marty.
either.
I graduate in the fall, and I'm
Yep.
pretty happy about that.
There you go. Graduating
Yeah, with
from
bachelor's.
college, right?
Yeah, with my bachelor's.
Damn. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, I already have my associates, and then I'll get my certificate as well.
Very good. What are you graduating with?
Bachelor's of Science in Anthropology, and then I'm getting my forensics certificate.
Okay.
So I want to do like fingerprints analysis.
Okay. Yeah, I signed up for anthropology as a gen ed, and then they wanted me to read 3 books, and
Yeah,
that's too much stuff for something that I'm not going to school for.
exactly. I mean, I
is a lot.
didn't read 3 books, but I also don't usually read the books that are quote unquote required.
Yeah, I mean, I like reading well enough, but 3 books over the course of 1 semester, I'm just like, when exactly do you expect me to have time? Especially because with like all the other classes that you're supposed to be taking, and I was in football too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
did you
was
take
not.
like a theory class?
It was like an introduction to anthropology or something like that.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had that much reading, even with my like level 400 classes. That's our like senior level classes.
Yeah, that teacher was something else. It's a little hardcore. Like I remember first class, yes, it's 3 books, and yes, you are going to read them. And I'm like, okay.
You think so? That's what Spark Notes is for.
Yeah. I'm wondering if
Challenge
that was
accepted.
yeah, I wonder if that was just a way to weed out of the class, to be honestly.
I mean, it seemed like it did work then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You're
it-
like, no.
It got me out. Yep, I wasn't about that. All right, so here we are, Monday morning. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed your time off. Any of you guys working today?
I didn't work today. I worked the weekend though.
I gotta work today at 2 p.m. Fortunate. Oh, that's cheese life. Okay, so here we are. I think we can start with some introductions. So, Freddie, you tell us a little bit about your.
Hello, I'm Sauerkraut, and I play Freddie Bloomington, a half-elf bard who's a half-elf who's a mix of bard from the College of Lore and a hexblade warlock. This makes him a jack-of-all-trades type who's out for fame, glory, and wealth so that he may eventually be worthy enough to return to his homeland.
Thank you for that. Moving on to Hawkeye. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm Otto. I play Hawkeye, who is a wild hunt shifter druid from the Circle of the Stars. And I mean, she's about to open up after this big old fight. So, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but that's going to be very emotional.
Open up like a firing squad?
Pew, 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 pew.
Not quite.
Slaughters us all.
I'll say shots fired. How about that? I'm just
That's
kidding.
fine. All right, thank you for that, Hawkeye. Yes, we talked a little bit out of session. Hawkeye has some interesting things to bring to her character, flesh it out. So, moving on, we have VMOC. Tell us a little bit about.
Well met. I am old Jarhead. My character is VMOC, a Goliath barbarian from the Sword Mountains. VMOC is not quite sure what he is searching for. He was looking to find an ugly human downlander whom he believed to be a harbinger of doom. But now he is not so sure. He may join forces with this strange group to find this dragon queen. He may join forces. He's still not sure. That is all.
All right, yes. So we will definitely have to see how these party members join up, or if they even do so. For this has been a very, very interesting campaign, having to deal with a lot of role play and pretty accurate interactions between characters, I would say. I've been really enjoying. A good point to watch. But moving on, we have Ireva Galanodel.
Hello, I play Ireva, a wood elf ranger of the Horizon Walker subclass. Ireva has been going through a difficult time with her companions, gaining relationships she never anticipated, and then having those relationships lost, and her hard-earned, hard-built trust, tarnished. So she is trying to get back on track, complete the mission, and stop this cult from what they're doing so she can return victorious to her homelands.
Oh, like Legolas leaving his forest homeland. Ireva, a very interesting character that we have not quite had the pleasure delving into very far yet. Big emphasis on the yet. I look forward to that. That brings us to the last character, but certainly not the least. A big point, huge point in this character's backstory. Uthar Furbog. Tell us a little bit about.
I'm John, and Uthar Furbog is an ex-slave turned pirate's pirate. He came on land to try to find the man tied to a post. Well, the man tied to a Goliath tied to a post in the other room for being the one responsible for kidnapping and decimating his tribe as a young boy. And he is feverishly waiting, trying to sleep enough to get his rest effects for the trial by combat, which I do feel like he successfully proved last time, but they are making him do it again, so he's happy to beat the shit out of this guy one more time today.
Oh yeah.
2 for the price of 1.
And this time with magic.
Right.
With magic,
without
full
my
of
magic, and now I'm gonna do it with my magic.
So yes, that very well done, everybody. Thank you for your introductions. We have a very fun group. So last time on the Hoard of the Dragon Queen, for those who may not have seen it, these 5 members have been kind of battling themselves, well as outside threats. For their reasons for being in the north are not all for the same, and a few party dynamics and everything made seeing eye to eye on various issues a little difficult, especially in this land where the laws of civilization apparently don't quite reach. There is more of the strong survive kind of vibe. This land, it is much, much more dangerous. Creatures more frequently attack, and the creatures that are there certainly more fearsome. But last time we entered with a group of the laborers and their guardsmen returning from a site off into the woods just as the party was looking through the cultist wagons outside here. They were moving the dead bodies. And as that group had arrived, became attacked by some of the cultists that were remaining to the northeast. After that battle, actually, like before that battle was fully over, Uthar had attacked one of the approaching guardsmen. So it put the rest of them on the defensive act. So, as Freddy issued out some words to stop everything, basically telling the new guardsmen that they were with Ardred, nobody quite knew what was going on with the Firbolg. So we entered the session with Ramus Grick, his boot on top of Uthar's neck, saying, you know, hey, I get that you guys are saying these things, but this one attacked me. It was relentless. Uthar kept on the offensive, being brought down a few times to unconsciousness, but nevertheless always healed up by his party members, as everyone else was trying to see what was going on and understand, trying to get him to talk, but keep him alive. He kept at it. And it was uncovered that this man Uthar was after was by the name of Ramus Grick. He and his companions, one of them being a towering Goliath, kind of pushed off the party, with the Goliath eventually telling all of his guardsmen and everybody watching to let the men fight. There was honor at stake. Goliath wanted to make sure that neither man was taken away their due, to let them have it out. This was when Uthar put Grick down. Grick stabbed out with a dagger. Uthar flamed the storm in its wrath, responded with a shock, sent up Ramus's body, laying him unconscious on the ground. With a quick spare the dying, Uthar kept him alive and stable and began to drag him off. That's when everybody came in and was like, hey, what are you doing? Uthar revealed his slave trader background. Though he didn't quite have proof, the strength of his resolve and determination convinced everybody. The very likely truthfulness of words. But Captain nevertheless did not like the thought of a man being dragged off into the swamps to be done with who knows. Could only imagine the things that Uthar was planning to do to Ramus Grick. So he knocked him out with a sword pommel, and everybody was brought inside for the night. It was debated about what to do, but convincingly the party determined that a trial by combat should be had in the morning once everybody was arrested. Beamok himself, in order to make sure Ramus Grick did not take off in the night or flee, had himself tied to the man, tied to a post. Also, a lot of really good role play. A lot of exploration. Party members, definitely check that video out. YouTube, to have it up. But that brings us to the present moment. We are here. Roadhouse. Beamok, you are tied up to the man Ramus Grick. Everybody else sitting on your straw mattresses in your beds. Dawn has approached. You have all regained. You have all benefited from a long rest.
I would imagine Beamok's like sitting Indian style, you know, cross-legged. And he's got Grick, you know, tucked in. You know, his legs are wrapped around Grick's legs. and his arms are wrapped around Grick, and the rope is bound around his body and the post. So there's really no way for Grick to get away. Without BMOC feeling it trying to get away. Unless he's, like teleports or Misty Steps maybe or something like that.
So as the morning brought in on rays of sunshine through the swampy trees, BMOC, you feel Grit kind of stir a little bit, and as you begin to regain your own consciousness into the waking world, you hear some groaning. Oh. BMOC, what? And then he just kind of like lays his head back on the ground. He's laying on the ground prone, kind of like, what's going on?
Well, he wouldn't be able to be on the ground. He'd be on BMOC. Hello, slaver. It is the day of your reckoning.
Had enough days of reckoning. I think I'll sit this one out if you don't mind, friend.
I am not your friend.
Oh? Well, I thought we had quite a good partnership, relationship.
I think I was your hiding place.
You certainly are big.
Yes, this is true.
We had quite a team out there, as I remember. Taking all their attention and then me fighting from your side. But, no matter. Would you mind, undoing these ropes and, telling me exactly what is going on? How exactly am I to come to meet my...
You will have a trial by fire, so to speak. You there, guard.
Guard, kind of sits up from his post. Yes, Vimak?
Would you please unbind these ropes?
Yeah, sure. Give me a moment. Comes over. At this time, Uthar himself also comes out from the door.
Yeah, hearing the very loud voice of BMOC prompting to get out of the room. That people are awake.
There, Grick. There is your demise.
After a little bit, the guard undoes some of the ropes and everything. Takes him a little bit. They were well enough done.
BMOC keeps a grip on Grick. That's hard to say with new teeth. It has been decided that you two will have a duel in order to end this mess once and for all.
As Ramus kind of shaking the ropes off of himself.
BMOC will push him out into the center of the floor, just shoving.
Okay, please make me a strength check.
Strength check. Not a very good one. Well, he's seated.
All right, well, he rolled a 1. Oh, and I had him roll it with disadvantage because he was not expecting that. Vimak, you shove him. He actually kind of falls forward a little bit, moving about 10 feet and falling prone. Falling on the ground. Oh, well, that wasn't very classy.
There, Uthar. You may begin your challenge for honor.
Yeah, kind of looming over him as he steps up to here. He looks down at the prone Grick and says, Do you intend to run again this time, coward, or will you finally take the death you earned so long ago? And he's got like sword ready to roll as soon as he's on his feet. This fight to him is starting. I don't know if somebody was supposed to officiate, but
So he's on the ground. Roan turns over and his hands are up a little bit as he's laying on his back. He is. Would you really fight a man on his back? No weapon? I don't expect this fight to go anywhere fair. See, claiming to be so much better than me. About survival.
didn't he have? I guess we took his shit right when we tied him up. So I look over to, or Uthar looks over to VMOC, and wherever Grick's stuff is, and tells points at it.
VMOC shrugs. VMOC shrugs. VMOC shrugs. We did not take his stuff. He is concealing it. He has his gear.
Oh, we did. Oh, so I didn't remember if we took his things or not. that was me not remembering.
No, we didn't take anything from him.
Okay. Blade in hand, just like. Let's go down to about here. Looks down and says, "You are not even honorable men. If you wish to not fight, then I will kill you there. Or draw your blade and stand."
Begrudgingly, he kind of, makes a show of getting up from the ground, giving an eye to VMOC, stands up in front of everybody, and he looks around and says, "So, this is how it's going to be then, huh? So quick to cast one of your own to the winds. Wouldn't expect more from the lot of you." Also talking to other guards around right now. He reaches to his side and takes out a whip. Takes a step back and cracks it. This is how it's going to be.
Uthar, I guess technically it doesn't look like this, but I'm going to say it looks like this. Flexes slightly, his eyes do a glow, and a shimmering field of electricity crackles out from him. Because I cast Shield of Faith on myself. But
Okay.
It looks like electricity when I do it.
Very
So I
cool.
said so.
Yeah, so it's like that force field, but there's little crackles of electricity all around it.
Yeah, it's very Dragon Ball looking.
Gotcha. Very cool. As Ramos Grick,
We're gonna try to come out to watch this. Oh, I got Kara on the board.
you guys gotta do whenever you're passing by a wall, you have to go straight through. If you don't, then you get caught on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Any object.
Got to pass through the goalpost.
Right, and so as Ramos Grick cracks his whip and takes a step back, says, "Well, that's how it's going to be, then so be it. Come on, Furbolg, show me what you've got. What have you learned over the years?"
Should we take this outside?
No.
Okay.
Please roll me initiative.
Arrgh.
Okay, Ramos Grick gets to go first. He's going to take...
B-Mock's still sitting down, by the way.
Okay.
Still Indian style, just cross-legged.
He's got his knees drawn up to his chest, and he's, grasping his chest or his knees, and he's just watching, eyes wide.
Okay, so Ramos takes a step up, cracks his whip at you, Uthar. That is dodged. He returns the whip as it cracks from the side. That is blocked. Your AC's higher than 19.
I used to use 20 because I cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Holy cow. That's high as fuck. All right. That's 5 feet. 10, 15. He's going to take some steps back. Uthar, go ahead.
This turn. Let's just step in and do a standard attack this turn.
Okay, first, as you step in, he's going to use a reaction for anticipatory stab. Dodge.
It's a shame because the first time he hits me with one of those, he's going to take a lot of damage as a retaliation. But let's, bring short sword. Yeah, I'm going to do a short sword stab this time. Oh no!
Automatic miss.
Damn that die. Not gonna do any casting on this turn yet, so that's good. Oh, right.
Okay, Ramus is going to go again. Going to use cunning action to disengage. Move back. He's gonna fling his whip at you 2 times again. This is the first one. And you dodge the second. Uthar. You're up again.
Yep, take a step. And just see if I can get one hit off before I do anything fancy.
That's
There's
a hit.
Good one. Let me drop that on there. And...
He is going to take an anticipatory stab against you again.
Okay. Do you want to roll that real quick
Yeah, I'll
before
roll
I
that.
drop this damage? Okay.
And he hits.
Okay, so take 16 lightning damage as he stabs me. The bolt of electricity
But-
shoots out.
Is that a reaction?
No, that's...
Yeah, Wrath of the Storm is a reaction.
Yeah.
So you cannot do that on your turn. You don't get reactions on your turn.
Okay.
Right, 11 points of damage to him.
And...
He will do 7 points of damage to you.
Okay.
You succeed on your saving concentration check. Anything else, Uthar?
Not this turn.
All right, he will use cunning action once again. Disengage. 15. Crack his whip again at you twice. Blocked. And blocked. Uthar, you're up again.
Alright, let's do something fun. I'm gonna use Hidden Step to go invisible
Okay.
and get to this side of him. And as I appear, I will be reaching out to touch him.
Okay.
Technically casting Inflict Wounds.
Blocked by his
Both those
armor.
rolls.
You reach out your
No,
hands.
really bad roll for that.
Yeah, you step behind him, invisible, and you reach out your hands to cast Inflict Wounds, but you actually just catch the side of his leather. As you begin to appear, he twists quickly. Oh!
Nah, that's that. I can't cast any magic while
Right. Promise. Oh, trickery, hey? Have to rely on that. He's going to use cunning action once again to step away. Crack his whip twice.
This is a good fight.
Both miss. Uthar, you're up.
No, I'm not gonna do that yet. Just go ahead and step in. A normal swing this turn. Dude, what the fuck?
Dang.
I wonder why Uthar
Unfortunate.
play with him like this.
Or why the dice are being fucking shitty today. Color up a little bit, maybe that'll help. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything else on this turn, so that's fine.
All right, Uthar steps up and attempts to make a short sword stab, but it is an awkward stab, and Ramus Grick blocks it with his foot, kicking it away. Ramus Grick going to use cunning action. Step back here, crack his whip twice. And he gets an automatic miss.
Good. We should not fight bosses today, guys. Things are not looking good on the dice.
He steps further away. Uthar, you're up.
Just do... Two so far? Nah, I don't want to use magic yet. Let's just keep on keeping on for right now.
Okay, he is going to make a stab at you.
Alright.
Reaction.
Ureva
That
will
is
back away from the
blocked.
fight respectively.
It was like, hey, I'm not part of this. Okay, he misses you. As you come within his defenses, he stabs out anticipatory with his dagger, but he misses. You are able to block it.
Another
Oof.
automatic miss.
You got a
About to
fumble
close
effect.
Fantasy grounds to reopen because
Uh-oh.
this is pathetic.
Uh-oh.
Overextended. You are stunned until the end of your turn. So as you stab out with your short sword, you overextend yourself, and Ramus punches you on the side of the temple.
Change your die color. Change your die color.
I'm gonna crash Fantasy Grounds and then reopen if I get one more automatic miss in one fucking fight. To get this many is statistically impossible. In a row. One.
Ramus,
It's statistically very unlikely.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking me over for no reason.
Ramus is going to make 2 dagger attacks against you. First one is blocked. Second one is a hit. Uthar, you take 9 points of damage, and you fail your concentration check. Ramus will take disengage action using his cunning action.
No, I can use my reaction during my turn, by the way. So he needs to take that 16 damage from earlier. I thought I could because you can use the shield spell during your turn. And that's a reaction. So I'm gonna need him to take that thunder damage that I did earlier. It'll make me feel better with my fucking ones.
Your turn is generally comprised of actions and bonus actions, but a specific turn can include a reaction. You can only take actions and bonus actions on your turn within a round. Your reaction can be taken on your turn or on someone else's within a round.
Yeah, so I can use my reaction during my turn. I was gonna say, because the shield spell literally is something
It's a
you
reaction.
can-
Yeah.
It's a reaction, but you can cast it during your turn.
Yeah.
Okay,
And this is the
I'm
same.
probably
concept.
drawing that more from 4th edition.
Maybe I don't know a lot of fourth.
Yeah,
but I-
because 4th edition
For going
reactions
fourth.
are not on your turn.
Gotcha. Yeah, you just don't get it back if you use it during your turn. So
Yeah, you can only
Okay.
use it once per round.
Gotcha.
Depending
Okay,
on a reaction.
so go ahead.
no,
And
I'm
do
just
that
doing
damage.
the destructive wrath, so it'll do max
Okay.
lightning. So
How much is that?
16 damage he took earlier.
Okay, so he is bloodied.
But he would have took it again just right there, because it would have been a
No,
different
because I'm
round.
stunned this turn.
Oh yeah.
I can't use a reaction while I'm stunned. That I do know. That stunned is really fucking me. I'm fucking myself with my very poor rolls.
Okay, and then he steps away. Uthar are stunned.
I thought it was to the end of my last turn. So when I stopped being, yeah, because it took it off.
The last turn was when you were stunned. So when it says it lasts 1 round, is your next turn? Because you
So through the end.
You made an attack, and that caused you to be stunned. So then you lose that turn, but it says you're stunned for 1 round. So would it be the next turn as well?
I would think not. Otherwise, that's really, really savage.
Okay.
So that'd be effectively 2 turns.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Right.
Yeah, Uthar, you are up. Go ahead.
So he's got the stunned effect on him, so that would
Nope,
have to.
it's not. It expired.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, he did what, 9 damage to me last turn?
Correct.
Sorry, just doing some quick math. No, I can go 1 more turn, I think.
2 + 2 is 4.
Okay.
Quick maths.
I'm gonna step up and just take a normal swing.
Okay, he
If
is going
dice
to use.
rolls a 1, I'm closing fantasy grounds.
He is going to use his reaction to stab at you.
Okay.
He misses. No worries.
There we go.
You hit.
Fucking
That's better.
finally. Drop that
There's
on
1
there.
in the number.
Yeah, that one is okay. So long as he has a brother with him.
Oof.
Or-
Ooh, good
16
damage.
points of damage. Ah! He cries out in pain as your short sword slashes a deep gash into his thigh.
That will be good for this turn. Yeah, that'll be good for this turn.
All right. Ramus, that's your idea of justice. Steps back with a cunning action. E. Yep, he's gonna make a whip attack against you. That is blocked. He will do it again. That too is blocked. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Uthar. You're up.
Yeah. Get to him, so don't see any reason why not. Although I don't like that he's clearly making a play for. I guess I have not been in here, so Uthar doesn't actually know where that door goes.
Okay, so he's gonna use his reaction to stab at you. He misses.
All right. Well, yeah, I already stepped in, so we'll just do a sword. I was gonna do magic that turn, but I'm already here, and he already took a swing, so let's just take a swing back. Hey,
That is
finally,
a
I
hit.
guess adding 3% green helped my dice to stop being fucking clowns. I don't mind a miss, but can't keep rolling 1s and feel good about yourself. Excellent.
All right. How do you want to do this?
So it's gonna be like similar to what happened outside. It's a quick move where I bring up the sword to slash down, but and as he kind of like recoils, it's just pommel in the nose real quick, knocking him unconscious and just laying him flat out.
You didn't say it was gonna be a.
No, I know, but I'm still. I do that, but I clearly hit him too hard.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cast Spirit
Gotcha.
Attack.
You put his
He
nose
thought
inside
I
of
should
his
keep
brain.
him alive.
Yeah.
I gotta keep him alive, but then he fucking broke that dude's nose so bad that it's like, whoops.
Okay.
He's looking like Voldemort now.
I reach down as soon as he's down and spare the dying to keep him alive. Looking a little bloodied and wearied all the same.
So all the rest of you watching this fight see Uthar run up and quick do an upward smack with his sword, crashing the pommel of his short sword into the man's nose, caving it in. And you see Grick's consciousness just leave his body as it goes limp, and he falls back on the ground with a thud.
I think from where Hawkeye is, she can see the mild amount of surprise in Uthar's face before he reaches down to cast the Spare the Dying, because he did intend to knock him unconscious, but he was so angry that he just put too much pepper on that hit.
Too much sauce.
Clearly gave him a skull fracture.
Hey, spare the dying.
It just stabilizes downed creatures.
Yep, so he is stable.
Mach immediately looks around to make sure nobody tries to retaliate against Uthar.
Nope, they're all just
and
they're all just
bloodied
standing around
and
watching.
tired. It kind of slumps over here towards this side and calls out, Vimak, could you please collect and restrain Greg here?
Restrain him? Why? Did you not kill him?
No, I believe our friend Freddy and his companions may wish to ask him some questions first. And I start walking this way, back kind of towards our room where my stuff is, and gets out a small water skin to get some water.
Goliath looks completely confused.
Seeing Freddy, looks at him somewhat sheepishly and says, he may have information that will help you.
Freddy nods. I appreciate your restraint.
Know this. After you have gotten your answers, I will be having time alone to question him, and then he will die. And then he very sloppily heads over to the boxes and takes a seat. Because I did go down to right at half health, so I took a bit of a beating.
All right, the veteran steps up. Oi, wait. I thought this was supposed to be a trial by combat. When are you supposed to die?
Do not worry. He will be dying soon. But he has information, I believe, that we will find useful in the matters outside.
Okay. You ask for a trial by combat, but you don't kill the man. It's just not how it works. What are we supposed to do with this? You wanted to question him, you had all last night to question him. It should have been done before the trial. Because now, the trial's not over. Once he regains consciousness, it's still on.
Uthar gets up, tired still, and wanders out this far and says, he is already dead. Dead men won't answer questions. Do not worry about what we're going to do with him now. I look over to Vimak and say, can you collect him and put him in the room I was in last night?
Uthar grabs him by his hair and drags him across the floor.
This room, to be clear.
Vimak does.
Yeah. Uthar kind of follows in behind him, again, still weary from the battle. And as he crosses sort of next to Fred, gives him a nod and then continues inside so he can sit in the corner. I can stop.
Vimak glares at the captain.
There we go.
The veteran just... Then you hear him kind of mumbling, ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Stuff like that. Rumbles.
I don't like this any more than you do, veteran. But if we had questioned him last night, then it wouldn't have been a fair trial in the morning. He wouldn't have gotten his rest.
You're all ass backwards. Okay.
What kind do I want to do? I'm gonna heal Uthar. I'm just figuring out what I want to do.
Still
I'll
have
do.
one heal left if you don't have to. I don't. Oh, I guess you'd had long rest. Never mind. I'm always thinking you turn to like save your spell slots, but that doesn't seem necessary today.
Piedmont comes out of the room, gets the rope that was on the pole, goes back and ties up Drake.
Alright, so
Carlin's
how I
still
want
sleeping in
to.
the room, I assume. Oh, did I miss the fight? Damn it! I was such a sleepy baby.
Looks at Carlin. Your weapons are still unused.
Carlin, I just didn't have everybody out there, but everybody
No,
was out to watch. But yeah, Carlin says, well, and it should be a last resort, shouldn't it?
They look dull.
He looks at his weapon. He looks at his weapons kind of like sheepishly because he's being talked to by a towering Goliath, having never dealt with one of you before. You know what? You're right. I'm gonna go shopping them. Leaves.
Fucking Carlin.
Better suited for butter.
Hawkeye, you can't see him.
It's healing word.
You do still need to see me, so I don't know if you want to come in
Healing
the
word
room.
is 30 feet, isn't it?
Probably. Excuse me. 60.
Also, Nomad, I don't know if you saw my message before the fight, but
I did not.
Freddy would have attuned to that new rapier that he would have gotten with that
gotcha.
rest.
I don't.
Oh,
you don't need to
now we get to
attune to
find
it.
out
It's
what it
just a.
is.
It's just a match.
Okay.
You're talking
Well,
about.
I didn't know if it was a weapon that required attuning or learning or whatever. Okay.
Identify. +1 rapier.
Excellent.
That's
Okay.
Then it also becomes my hex weapon.
Okay.
It now owns your soul.
Then Hawkeye, you identify the amulet around your neck as an amulet of health. Your
Oh, I'm
constitution.
happy about that.
Your constitution score is 19 while you wear this amulet. It has no effect on
shit.
you. Your constitution is 19 without it.
That thing's worth like 17,000 gold.
That's a very good item.
It's an
Yeah.
incredibly
Oh my
powerful
goodness.
item.
Yeah.
I mean, she wears it. So she's like, ooh, shiny.
What else? Oh, there was Ereva's.
Mhm.
You knew, you know.
Yeah, you
know
already
those
told us they were the
yeah,
elven kind.
boots of-
Yep.
Wasn't there a brooch also that we didn't ID?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like a
that's
pin.
in my hand.
Yeah. Brooch is probably the more technical word.
I have that though.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a brooch of shielding. While wearing this brooch, you have resistance to force damage, and you have immunity to damage from the magic missiles.
Ooh.
Hawkeye's getting buff.
I laugh at you and your magic missile. Ha 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 ha.
Should take care of all the magic items. Okay.
Uthar, what do you wish to learn from this man?
I will find out if any of my people are still alive and where they might be. But I believe, from what I gathered before coming on land, he is at least somewhat knowledgeable on this cult situation. I believe he may have information that the others will seek. Better to get it from him now, because the only other thing he will say is, "Ow, I have been stabbed."
So, you are
The other one's coming in the room.
you are friends with Freddy and Hawkeye and the elf woman.
Uthar kind of looks down and says, I fear that anger over this situation may have become problematic. I've spent much time only focused on finding this man and killing him, and having to wait and having people question me about it, it made me very angry.
Well, you should be happy. Uthar has killed this slaver twice now.
This fills me with much joy, yes, but I am, and then when Freddy walks in the room, he kind of clams up.
Demok kind of glances at Freddy and back to Uthar, and back to Freddy, and back to Uthar.
Was I interrupting?
Just Blackjaw, just.
No, Freddy and Uthar have gap in friendship that must be fixed.
If you two need a moment, I can come back in a little bit.
No, this.
Demok shakes his head and says, no, gap between Freddy and Uthar must be fixed.
It is better we deal with Grick now, so we can continue on for day.
Well, then
Don't
we
fight
wake.
us, right?
Then Demok wake Grick up, and he bends down and slaps him in the face. Wake up, Grick! Slaps him again. Wake up! You are not dead. Slaps him again.
Rick's body just moves with the slaps, but he does not waken.
We may have to wake not by beating him, as much as I do find joy in this.
Demok looks back at Uthar. He slaps him again. Wake up! Slaps him.
Same thing, like a dead fish, just moves but does not waken.
Demok thinks maybe Grick is dead. Uthar.
He is alive. I have enough medicine experience to know this. We will either have to wait for him to wake up, or someone will have to give him certain medicine, magic medicine, or something.
Is he worth spending a spell on, Uthar?
Go on. Not mine. He looks and says, it would be better if he was not filthy. He is a slippery coward. He will take every chance to get away.
Oh, I tied him very well. Demok made sure he not run away. Oh, let's take his weapons from him. And he searches him. Demok searches him.
And
The
not
weapons-
to interrupt, but outside of the room, Ireva and Hawkeye have like a short exchange. And Ireva just tells Hawkeye that she, they want to talk, but she wants to make sure that if Freddy wants help with questioning, because Uthar would be impatient, likely impatient for his vengeance. So she's then going to say that to Hawkeye and then pop in the room.
So Ramos would not have his weapons. They would have fallen on the ground where he fell.
He has no weapon.
Yeah, can I grab those to make sure? He
I'm
would,
gonna grab them
Uthar would
and
feel
then give
better
them to
having
Uthar.
those. Yeah, he would feel better having
Sure.
those.
Do you want them in your inventory?
Are they anything special?
Not special, just a dagger and a.
Nah, then no. I'll just
Okay.
keep them to make sure he doesn't have them.
Hawkeye will
I don't think
hand
I
them
can
to them.
sneak attack with a whip.
Hawkeye's gonna pick them up.
Yeah, Hawkeye picked them up and gave
Okay.
them to Uthar.
That's fine then. Yeah. This is a little meta, but maybe cast healing word over cure. I can only do cure wounds today, but I don't want to give him that much HP.
I can get him
Anybody have
conscious
any
if we are ready.
And Ireva will look at Uthar and say, "Would you like me to train an arrow on him for this?"
Oh, I forgot.
He's pretty tied up on the floor. Uthar looks and says, "Thank you, but I do not think that he is going to be going far."
Okay, she'll simply nod and then turn to Freddy and just, I'll let you take the lead. Let me know if I can do anything. I'll do my best to keep my impatience with this man in point.
Oh. He looks up with his eyes half closed. Twice now I have stared death in the door and reigned victorious.
Oh, do not worry, friend. You will not get third time.
Oh, I am
Sword
sure.
is still in hand,
And
ready to do a challenge.
Yeah, he's looking down at his arms strapped to his side, tied in rope. Twice now. All of you, again. Wonderful.
Uthar looks over to Freddy. This is his show.
Freddy's looking down at him. Ramus, your life is already forfeit. You will not leave this room alive. But if you answer a few of our questions nicely, I believe Uthar might be able to speed along that process faster than he would normally like. What
So
do you know
mean to
of the
torture?
cult of... What do you know of the cult of the Dragon Queen?
So you mean to torture me?
Answer the question.
Why? You kill me anyway. What's the point?
That can take a long time there, Ramos. You know this.
I know what happened. I don't think you look like the party that has the gall to do such a thing. You would torture somebody for information. Seems quite unlike someone attempting to reach so high and mighty as you.
Is he talking to Uthar or Freddy?
Everybody.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I don't torture. She looks up and then just shakes her head.
But you'll watch.
You're right, Ramus. I do not have the stomach for torture. I'm not a fan of it, nor do I appreciate it. However, if what Uthar says about you is even a quarter true, I think I'd be willing to turn a blind eye. Again, answer the questions, and we can make it very quick. Or it can be very long.
Oh, you're just like me. You just don't see it. And he has this he's holding himself like he's just I can't think of the words I want. Like it he's kind of like laughing at the damn, what's the word?
Irony?
Irony, yeah. He's kind of laughing at the irony in the air.
No one is slaver like you.
But when push comes to shove, you're all too willing to do what needs to be done. You look down on me because you've heard about something in my past. I'm a survivor.
I grow weary of this, and he stomps on his groin.
Oh!
Nut shot!
Roll me a d4. Alright, 1 point of groin damage.
That was the one time we don't want to roll big, because we only have so many times we can stomp on his groin.
Quit speaking in weird phrases, Grick, and tell these people what they wish to know.
I'll tell you everything you need to know as long... The minute you admit you're just like me, you just don't want to admit it.
These people do not hold slaves. These people do not destroy tribes. These people are trying to do good.
Alright, but the torturers...
They seek information. If you would give it freely, they wouldn't have to do this.
And I would freely give such information on the promise of my freedom upon giving it.
At that, he reaches down and he grabs him by his chin and the back of his head, and he starts to twist very slowly, but puts his knee in his back. You tell them what they wish to know.
Okay,
you tell them now.
As Vimok reaches down and grabs him, you hear Rick say, "And I would freely give such."
Tell them. Tell them.
You are not going to leave this room, Ramus. There is no way this happens. Your death can be swift, or the large Goliath can slowly rip fingers off, I think.
How many times must they kill you and bring you back to life? And kill you and bring you back to life, Rick? They apparently can do it at will. He lets go.
All right, Grick falls to the ground, still kind of bundled up like a little caterpillar, like a worm. Oh, ask your questions.
What do you know of the cult of the Dragon Queen?
Go to the Dragon Queen, some ridiculous notion. Lost all my men to it. Fucking bastards.
We know that their base of operations is somewhere in this marsh. Where is it?
Hell if I know.
You don't even know a general direction?
Do I look like somebody who's a cultist to you?
I'm going to insight that.
Go ahead and insight check that. He is being truthful. He's not part of the cult. He's not being deceptive in it. Also,
You at least have been around here for long enough to know where the attacks have been coming from.
Also, hold up. So, Hawkeye, you rolled high enough that you also get a sense that he actually harbors a little bit of... God, I can't ever remember
Resentment?
words. Yeah, resentment. He also holds a little bit of resentment towards the cult. Because he's speaking the words through some ire. And he responds to you now, Freddy. Attacks? What do you mean attacks? You've been the only ones attacking this other than creatures.
You just said you lost a lot of men to the cults.
Yeah, they didn't die, they joined.
Which directions did they head off in?
It was before I came to this roadhouse. I came to this roadhouse because I lost all my men. They mutinied me.
This
Well,
is
is
not
that
a surprise.
Is that due to the cult or due to your own heinous being?
Well, we are all survivors. They did what they felt they must. So much. And he's kind of like talking to himself.
Do
Can
not
I roll a
mumble, Rick.
perception to try to see what he said?
Go ahead and roll perception. All right, Hawkeye, paying attention. That is what you heard. And he kind of trails off, naming a few instances.
Yeah. Hawkeye looks up from when she was looking at the ground. Looking at the ring on her finger. She says, Rama said, after everything I did for them, pulling, is it Stefan?
Yeah.
Stefan out of that blender in the mill. And then she looks at Ramas and then looks back down.
He speaks through a bloodied mouth, spitting out some. Ungrateful lot, if you ask me.
An ungrateful lot, you say? Was there a particular man that they met up with when they turned against you? Was there a ringleader?
Not so sure. All happened soon after escaping from this one the first time. It nods his head as best he can to. A lot went on in a short amount of time. I just put it in my past. I've been making strides. Say I'm a slaver, but I haven't done that in quite some time.
This does not make up for all the things you've done, Ramos. Tells a man what he wants to know.
What was the question again? As like, yes.
B-Mock knees him in the back of the head.
Was there a recruiter of some sort? A person of note that you saw amongst the camp from the cultists?
Not that I can remember. It was more like we were mutineered and sent on our longboats. Not sent, rather, escaped, I suppose. Out into the ocean, made our way back to land, and as we dragged our wet, soggy bodies onto the sands, everybody started yelling at each other, and, you know, they weren't exactly taking orders from me anymore, and so they beat me and left me for dead. And then later on, as I made my way back into the mainland, I saw some of my own crew, and they were part of this cult, doing some weird sign gesture with their hands to each other, and I never actually dealt with.
What was
was
the
the
hand sign?
Well, I would show you, but I'm kind of tied up.
Was it this? And Freddy does the motion that we used to enter the camp back below Baragost.
Yes. Holding out your hand, palm outstretched with all of your fingers laid wide.
B-Mock chuckles.
Uthar looks over at Freddy. Yeah, it would appear he is not as of use as I had hoped for you.
Perhaps not, but it seems he's answered the questions to the best of his ability.
I have one more question, and
So-
Uthar leans in real
Todd,
tight. Oh,
I want to
sorry,
make sure that he was telling the truth about like not joining up, and he just saw that the cultists, like his friends, had joined the cultists. That's what I'm inciting.
You reason that is 100% correct,
Okay.
not being deceptive in it. He's telling the truth because there's really no angle for him to play. So he's just like, fuck it.
He's just, sadness truthing. So Uthar gets down on his haunches and grabs Grick by the... Is he face down or face up? Because it'll depend.
He's kind of like on his side in an awkward position from when he was dropped by...
Okay, so he'll grab him like by the sort of like side of the face, like jaw, so he can get him to look him right in the eyes. Holding him that way, and he says, "Then you'll have one more question. Where are rest of Firbolg?"
He laughs through his bloody teeth. I have no idea.
Where did you sell them? Which ones are still alive?
All over. I imagine they're all still alive. Slaves are an important commodity.
A small smirk goes across Uthar's face and says, "You have given me very good news today." And then he casts Inflict Wounds on him, and necrotic energy rips him into a tiny little mummy.
Ooh.
So as Uthar extends out his hand, and you see the crackling black energy writhing across, growing in size, in the few milliseconds up to you reaching your hand to touch the man, Ramos says, Ramus says, Edgar, great to see you. Oh.
Is
Guys,
that a name that Uthar would recognize? 'Cause
that is
obviously
a
I
name
don't,
that
but-
Uthar would recognize. One of the slavers.
Ah, okay. From Ramus's original crew.
Correct.
Gotcha. So yeah, after the horror show, because I imagine inflict wounds would be a horrible way to die, which is why I saved one. After the horror show that is that, he forcefully throws his face back into the ground and stands up to his feet, closing his eyes, takes a big inhale, and turns to the three of, I was gonna say three of you, but Freddy, Ureva, and Hawkeye, and opens his eyes and says, I am sorry for my behavior. To you, Hawkeye, this was unfair, things that I said. I was very impatient and angry. This is not excuse for behavior, though. I would not treat crew this way. I should not treat others. And then he kind of takes a step back to lean against the wall next to VMOC. And lets out another sigh and says, I promised crew that when I was done, when I found this man, when I had revenge, I would stay with them. I would protect them. My powers important. Mok, what do you intend to do now?
VMOC, not sure. VMOC left tribe to find ugly Downlander and kill him. To protect the Dawn that had been turned ugly. But
the ugly Downlander that you refer to disappeared at the exact same time as a certain was it Priest of Fae or Thay? Where's my notes?
Red Wizard.
Red Wizard of Thay. Disappeared at the exact same time. And the Red Wizard is working for the cult. If you're looking for this fair-haired man, perhaps you should join us. That might be your best bet to encounter him.
Hawkeye told VMOC of this Dragon Queen, whose necks and heads are the colors of black, red, white, green, and blue. Yes?
She nods.
Those are the colors of the hand that VMOC saw that grabbed the sunlight in his vision. I will go with you to find this Dragon Queen and kill her. If you will have me. If you will have VMOC.
At this, Ureva looks up and knowing his hesitation, she looks at VMOC anyway and just says, "You have an honor that I have rarely witnessed in others. I personally would be proud to have you along with us."
Tell me your name, elf woman.
My name is Ureva.
Ureva.
Don't know why that was so funny.
Ureva.
Yes, very well said. And she offers like a genuine smile.
Ureva. VMOC likes the way that sounds on his mouth. Ureva.
Sounds like he's chanting it.
And she lets out a small chuckle and says, "Rarely have I heard my name spoken with such power."
Well, don't say it too much. You might wear it out.
Say it so much it'll become gibberish in your head.
Bimok will join with you, but he looks at Freddy. You are not my tribe leader.
No, I would never claim to be. I'm not strong enough for that role.
Ireba is tribe leader.
Hawkeye like raises an eyebrow and looks at her like,
No,
oh.
no. Vimok is right. Ureva is stronger than I am.
And Ireva will, knowing Vimok's people's, views on elves, will kind of have this shocked look on her face. But she recovers very quickly. It's very brief. She say, "You honor me, Vimok. I do view this group more as equals. We are here for each other because we all share a similar goal."
Enough said.
All right, I can't look at this body any longer. And then she kind of just walks out the room.
And
Sorry.
Ireva will, remembering Hawkeye's request to speak, Ireva will, "I'm going to take my leave now." And she'll look at each of them in turn and just say, "Thank you all."
Okay. Hawkeye, as you open the door, you see the gnome woman leaning on the pole just outside the doorway, looking down, but fiddling with something in her pocket, and she has a smirk on her.
Frickin' Jamna.
Yeah, I was
What's
gonna
in
say,
your
is that
pocket?
Jamna?
Uthar, what about you?
Yeah. I have to ensure the safety of my crew first and foremost. And he looks over at Vimok and says, "This is part of crew. I will travel with him." And he gives like a little smirk, smile, and nods at you, Freddy.
Well, there's no better way to safeguard your crewmates than to try to stop the end of the material world.
But
Welcome aboard.
before we go further, I do need to get oath from you. The heirlooms. I understand that they will be necessary for you to hold, but you must make promise that you will return these to the proper kin when this is over, and anyone who falls will have to inherit this. It is the only way I can travel without breaking my oath.
I'll make every effort that I can to find and return these heirlooms to their original owners.
He is visually very like big smile from that, hearing that you'll do that, and then he says, "Also, we do have to make sizable donation for gold we take now, but we can do this later." And like that one, he snuck in there and then just kind of steps back without waiting on that one. He's just making you know he's gonna make you give a bunch of money away. None of us will live to see that, so he's not worried about it.
Ondar would have done it anyways.
Yeah, well, Ondar's a zombie.
I mean,
And also apparently a wanted man. by
"Hi,
a
Salt.
large
Here's my
lion.
wounds."
Right, Freddy,
What's in your
you too.
pocket,
As
then?
you exit the doorway, you see the gnome woman leaning on a pole, looking down at the ground, fiddling with something in her pocket, and she has a smirk.
Oh, I meant to leave the room, but Hawkeye was there, so I didn't. So I'm just gonna pop here.
What's in your pockets is?
My precious.
Exactly.
she looks up. "Oh, are you done tending to all your little party favors over there?"
What's in your pockets is?
Hobbitses.
"Oh, a little something, I've been actually doing some work around here. You haven't forgotten we have a looming threat on the horizon.
Yes,
that,
Jamna. How could I forget? And as I
what
said
is
last
in the
night,
pocket?
we need all the allies we can get. I just got 2 more. What you got?
Well, I haven't antagonized the entire camp, so there's that.
But what's in your pocket?
Well, don't you worry about that just yet. Gonna pats it, then stands upright in front of you, all probably like 4 feet of her. So, you learned any important information, or is this all taken care of? Whatever this is.
No and yes, as far as I know.
Do tell?
No, we didn't find out a whole lot more information. And yes, as far as I'm aware, inter-party strife has been taken care of.
Okay, good. Now let's get back to work. Now, you look around you, this may seem like a regular old roadhouse, a little halfway point supply depot, but if you haven't already told yourself, Bog Luck was part of the cult, so obviously there is something here. I have taken the liberties of retrieving the man's keys. I can only wonder what doors they might open. But
Perhaps locked ones, Jamna.
yes, very astute half-elf, that is very true.
On fire today, Fred. Just really shoving it in her face.
But now, with the entire camp interred within, and every one of them eyeing you all up, each and every one of you, I don't know if we will have the opportunity to discover exactly which doors they open.
Ureva will speak up and say, I will volunteer myself to back out of that, as I will be the first to raise suspicion. And for that, I apologize.
So, my question is to you now. How exactly are we supposed to move about this area without arousing the suspicion of those already antagonized?
Well,
Ardred doesn't like you.
Perhaps we use that position to our advantage. Stir the pot just a little bit more over here, so we can open some doors over there.
I like how you think, half-elf. So, what's our goal?
Our goal is to not get anyone killed.
Yes, of course. That would be detrimental. I guess I should further explain exactly what are we looking for. See a room over there. Points down in this direction. There's the stairs going up, but there's also a room right here. It says, I have noticed many bringing crates and boxes inside, but I have yet to discover the contents. I believe the kitchens are upstairs. There's nothing in any of these. I already checked them.
Well, Hawkeye here seems to be the most not unpopular. That's the wrong word.
Excuse you.
Probably the most
Subtle.
subtle,
Unnoticed.
the most
The most
yeah.
unnoticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most unnoticed
gotcha.
among us. So perhaps
That's
she
better.
should. So perhaps she should stick with you, investigate that room, while the rest of us maybe cause a commotion outside.
I'd rather talk to Ureva alone first, if that's okay.
Jamna looks kind of annoyed. Go take care of your girl talk. I'll be in my room for when you're ready.
Girl talk.
Um, you're right, but may I talk to you on the side, please?
And seeing Hawkeye's face over the multiple times that she has requested this, Ureva's concern grows, and she says, "Of course. Feel free to pick the location. I'll come with you."
It does. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Just away from everyone. No offense to everyone else. Just
Well, I don't think outside would be our safest bet. Perhaps the
still
room
have
that we
the-
slept in.
Sorry, you do still have the room down.
All right, so she'll head, if I can remember where the opening is. Oh, I went through a solid object. Is it going to let me? Oh, it did. Oh, nope.
Those damn goalposts.
Yep.
oops. Hawkeye will close the door, so the archers can't hear. I just have to open up about a few things, I feel like. And then Hawkeye will still look at her ring on her finger and like fiddle with it. But she looks very concerned. And I know I broken some trust and just some resemblances are undeniable. But I know you aren't one to care about physical affection, such as hugging. But I may have slipped up about it a few times. And then, huh?
Oh, nope. Ureva's just, never mind. Go ahead.
All right. And then Hawkeye begins to like start tearing up and crying. And then she actually takes off her mask so only you can see that because she's wearing a mask.
And Ureva, seeing the emotion come from Hawkeye and hearing this, just responds with, "I know affection is important for many, and while it does not upset me, I apologize. It's not something I am accustomed to."
No, that's the part that doesn't bother me. It's
Do not upset me.
And then Hawkeye will choke on some of your words. I was like, Ureva, you look like her, some of your appearances. And some of the personality reminds me of her. And then she continues like to mourn. And you could see her face fully and like the features of the bird mixture with humanoid and everything. And then she looks up like and looks you in the eye. Today is the 1-year anniversary of my sister's death.
And at this, Ureva softens a little and looks at Hawkeye, just, "Hawkeye, I truly am so sorry. I did not know."
No, nobody knows really. I try to keep that alone. Her name was Rosemary, but I always called her Rose. She was my only biological family left, actually. And I watched her die. And then she continues to go on. "I'm so stupid. She told me not to come, but I didn't listen, and I followed her behind. But I was a coward, and if only I stuck up for her and didn't break that branch, and like she would still be here." And like she raises her voice and like speeds it up and like starts to kind of panic and just trail off, I guess.
Hey, Reva. After a brief moment, I can tell that from your words that you and your sister cared for each other greatly. Would she want you to blame yourself for her death?
I don't know, but like I feel like I just let her die. She was my best friend. And like I was okay with it coping wise, but she would still visit me spiritually, and you remember the healing spirit and that I had back there that looked like a wolf?
I do.
Yeah, that's her. She would always come to me as like the wolf, and just when Ondar died, like I let out so much rage, and just whenever I need her, she's always there for me spiritually, and like the wolf is her.
Well, if she is still there for you, then surely she does not blame you for her death, or she would not still be here.
No, but summoning those many wolves, and like it takes so much from you, and like that was just so much rage and power built up, and I really felt Rose was trying to help, and like the wolf within me, because she was always a wolf and everything. I um every day I'm fearful of leaving home because she told me not to leave, and we had to run away to the forest anyways, and I've never left home, so every day I'm so fearful that. And remember when I left camp to find that bear?
You're welcome. Of course I do. A little bit cooler.
Yeah. I first wanted to apologize for leaving camp. Like that was wrong of me. But I was having huge nightmares of seeing her die constantly as it came up to this anniversary of her death. Um, she said sanctuary is with animals, and since she's not here, I just felt like I needed to do anything in my power to protect them. And since I can talk to them, I just needed sanctuary. And she said guidance is with the animals as well. And they are the best guides, and they will guide you in the right direction. So that's why I left. I needed to talk to her again in some sort of way. I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
As she says that, she has a brief pause, and Ireva will say, "Then you must awaken one of us." And she's firm because she's Ireva, but trying to be as understanding as she can muster. And just says, "Okay, I know you understand the trust that you damaged, and I know that I have shared, like, my trust is not easily won. Forgiveness and trust are two separate paths. And I know you're hurting, but if you hurt in the future, if you need to do such an action as that, you must at least let one of us know. We were helpless babes. I myself am never helpless, but I can only do so much to save the others."
Yeah, I just feel like nobody trusts me after that anymore. But yeah, it's a strange concept. Like, you still talk to me. Rose was always talking about not giving people. Well, she would give them a chance to like try to be friends and everything. But once that trust is broken, everything is like, it's basically if you were dead to her. I mean, that way myself, but as you said, you like don't hate me. How is that possible?
Because trust, as important as it is, you can still care for people even with your trust broken. And I know you did not have it in your heart to put us into harm's way. And she will kind of look down and say,
For
"Even
known.
and she'll look down and say, even Andar had nothing but good to say about you. He believed that it was just an innocent mistake. He believed in you, Hawkeye. And
cut
I
out for a
developed a
second.
I guess I don't know where. I don't want to say the whole thing again. Andar believed in you, Hawkeye. And while the others of us, we care about you, the trust was damaged, but that does not mean it's necessarily broken. It's not something that can simply be wished back into fullness again. It will take time. But I know you did not mean ill. I just ask that in
No.
the future, if something like that happens, please disturb me. I would rather I lose my sleep to you asking me to take your guard than me having to take your guard.
I heard Ondar talk a little about forgiveness. I've never known who forgiveness is, because Hawkeye thinks it's like a person. Because she's never heard of forgiveness or anything. Who is forgiveness? How do you guys, society folk, seek a person named forgiveness? It sounds like an interesting concept. Maybe Rose was wrong, and there are inherently good people out there. I mean, look at you. I feel like you have always had my back. I feel like that's the term. We protected each other. I am still afraid every day that I'm not going to be good enough. And I couldn't save Rose, and I couldn't save Ondar. I feel useless. And then she just puts her head down again, like in her knees, and then just starts crying that she's not good enough.
Ireva will put her hand on Hawkeye's back, like kind of do gentle pats, awkwardly, but she's trying.
It's okay. Yeah.
And she'll say, Hawkeye, no one's death is on your hand unless you're the one with the dagger plunging into them.
But
I do not mean to dishonor your sister, but she made her choice. I do not know her, and I will never pretend to know her. I do not know what she went through in life, what she saw. I can only speak of my own life story. But I had a very different view on the world before I met this troop. And I will say, the honor of meeting Ondar has made me view things differently. And she'll say, if you breathe a word of this, you are in trouble. But even before joining this, half-elves were at the bottom of my shoe. And I find myself respecting a half-elf more than I ever could have fathomed.
Do not speak of this to the elf.
Sometimes your journey in life does surprise you. As you may have seen, I myself went through some personal turmoils. We're all going to go through them. Shall not be the last either. But do not go down the path of blaming yourself for the death of others, unless, as I said, you are the one to directly plunge the knife or the arrow into them. We all make our choices. We cannot blame others for what happens to us, so we should not blame ourselves for what happens to others.
She nods and then looks up. Yeah, you just look like her. I mean, the hair color and just personality-wise, you just remind me a lot of her.
She'll smile. Well, you obviously have a wonderful sister then. I don't know what that was like. But it's a memory that you can treasure. And perhaps she's still with you to remind you to treasure the memory, instead of allowing it to cause you pain and grief.
She nods and then she puts on her mask again. Yeah, I just really needed to get that off of my chest.
Well, I'm glad I am someone that you can confide in. I know I may not always have the words that some people would, but everyone, most people, need someone that they can just talk to.
Yeah, I mean, Rose was my best friend. I just wish I had that.
I will not give you the empty words that our trust is rebuilt. But there is no hatred between us. There are no ill feelings. Trust can be built back over time.
She nods and then stands up and, like, even though you probably won't like it, she like goes in for a big hug and like some of the tears are falling on your shoulder as she like composes herself.
Awkward.
Rava's arms are down at her side, but she kind of like picks one hand up at the bottom and like taps on her arm, and she finds herself like in Hawkeye's hood, like nose to nose with Greg. She says, "Hello, Greg."
And then she backs up, putting on her mask again. If you speak of what my face looks like to anyone else, I will be disappointed. Please don't.
It seems we have something on each other then. You speak a word of my respect for the half-elf. You may find yourself staring down an arrow, so it seems we both have something to keep quiet on, and she'll chuckle a little bit.
She lets out a smile and then nods, like trying to hide the tears, but obviously like they're still on her face a little bit.
And Rava will kind of see a little bit of that and just say, I'm going to tend to some things back in the main room. And she if you would like some time on your own, you are welcome to have it here.
Like Jana would get mad because
she'll kind of cough and say,
the half elf volunteered me.
I have yet to understand her motives. Keep your guard up with her. I have yet to understand exactly what her end goal is.
She nods and then like puts Renard. Well, Renard's been on the ground, but he will continue to stay on the ground. And then she'll take out Greg and put him on your shoulder.
And as usual, Rava lights up as a way that only Greg can cause.
And then, if you have any problems, talk to him. It will be kind of like out of character, like one of those earpieces, like that spies have. He will be the messenger.
I just imagine Greg like wearing a suit like a bouncer now, and he's got a little earpiece in his head.
I would say I definitely pictured him with sunglasses and one of those like coiled earpieces.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. like he will now be the messenger.
Yep.
Tell him what goes on, and hopefully he'll remember to tell me.
Excuse me, ma'am. There's hostiles in the other room.
Fucking Secret Service or something.
Yeah, Secret Service.
Yeah, exactly.
Secret Birdvis.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Secret Agent Bird.
I like that one better.
Yeah, if you find anything suspicious, go ahead and tell him and have him fly back to me.
She'll nod. She says, I am afraid I must lay low for the rest of our adventure in this particular roadhouse. I acted in a shameful manner. I will not be offering any apologies, but we have a purpose, and I must stick to that.
Yeah, I hate those dragon folks. That's the one that killed her.
Right.
And then-
Very, very well done.
Then she walks out.
So, while that conversation was happening, anything going on the northern end? Hey.
VMOC wants to know from Uthar what they're going to do with the mummy.
He kind of shrugs and says, I have no need for a dead body. They can do with it as they wish. Preferably throw it in bog.
Mm.
It does not deserve proper burial.
Should we just throw it out the building?
Yeah, I suppose we should do something with it before the men you travel with complain more.
This was the man I traveled with.
The other one.
Oh, the captain, yes.
Yes,
A
yes.
loudmouth one, yes, yes,
Yes, always complain about how we take care of business.
yes.
Eh,
VMOC will pick
you
the
want to
mummy
grab
up.
feet?
Yes.
I think I went down, or Uthar goes down to help you for a minute, but then you just kind of fucking pick him up with no problem
Right,
because you're so
right.
big. He just kind of follows in behind you at that point, just like, let's do this.
I don't know if I can get through the door there that way.
The green talk.
That's
Like
out
in
of
chat.
character.
Oh, how do you do that?
/OOC.
Oh, you can
Or
also, if
you
you
can-
just type it in, just hold Alt.
Left Alt
goes
and
to
enter,
OOC.
Oh yeah, that's the
Control
short.
goes to action.
Okay.
Shift might do something? No.
Sorry, I knew how to do the red one, but I didn't know how to do
Yeah, no worries.
that one.
So VMAC's gonna go over here and tell the he's got Grick's body. Open the gate or open the door. I just wish to deposit this carcass outside.
City Watch captain opens, looks outside, and you see the approaching afternoon light.
Sky
Wagons.
rockets in flight.
Afternoon already?
You guys have been talking for a while. There was a battle and everything. It's not quite afternoon, but you can see that it's not dawn anymore.
Hawkeye will try to find Gianna. Well, she went to the room over here. I know that.
Right, so Rick's body is unceremoniously dumped
Good.
Yep.
into the swamp.
Flourish.
Emok, you see the wagons still outside.
And he comes back in.
We'll just assume that the horses were brought into.
Okay. The deed is done.
Fred, I do not know. My plan was to find that man and kill him, so I do not know what the plan is. Do you have plan? It would be nice to know plan.
The plan is, in the long run, figure out where the cultist base are. It's somewhere in this swamp. Short term is to investigate this roadhouse further, since we know that Bog Luck, the runner of this roadhouse, was a part of the cultists. Woof.
Uthar was distracting you. Scanning the room and seeing all the people, including Ardrin, who do not care for. Uthar says, if we are going to remain here for longer time, it may be best to take care of whatever business quickly. My actions have not made us popular.
No, I'd like to leave this place as soon as possible as well.
Vimok must be magnificent to look upon. Everyone is watching him.
You are very crowd pleasing. Yes.
It's your head. The baldness. It's so reflective.
Do you believe that they will try to stop us from investigating building?
Yes. At least certain locked rooms.
Yes. Then we should distract.
We're saying all this hush hush, by the way. Like I'm just talking loud enough so my mic activates.
Gotcha.
And perhaps a distraction. This is often tactic we have found use in. I'm out of magic, so I can't do that. All I got is thaumaturgy to work with today. Otherwise, I get fog clouded, but that ain't gonna happen.
And on that, Uthar, we agree wholeheartedly. We have a set of keys, not in the party's possessions, but that little gnome lady, that may unlock certain doors for us, both literally and figuratively. We just need a way for those doors not to be watched, but we need to do it without causing too much trouble. We're already in, well, deep water as it is.
Yeah. With Jamna, by the way, if the party didn't know.
In perhaps,
I don't see you.
Yeah, I'm in the room with Jamna.
Vimok's gonna ask the guard, why are you watching me?
The guard just no reason, just a lot's happened since you've arrived. They've arrived.
Would you prefer that I left the dead man here?
Oh, thank you for taking his rod out. Just curious what's gonna happen next, Soul. You've kind of put your lot in with them, Vimok.
You wish this dragon queen to come here then?
Dragon? What do you mean, Dragon Queen? We're far enough away from the den of that beast.
Do you know where this den is?
Oh, nobody knows where that den is.
Then how do you know how far from it you are?
Because we're far enough away from the swamp. We're on the outskirts. We're cutting away from it.
Well, you said you do not know where the den is, but yet you are far from it. And then you mentioned the swamp. So, is there something you know you do not tell Vimok?
He looks a little frightened, kind of fumbling over his words. Nothing meant by it, Vimok. Everybody knows about the black dragon in the swamp.
Wait, what? There's a black dragon in the swamp?
Oh,
Vimok does not know this, and yet you say everyone knows. Does that mean you think Vimok is stupid?
No, Vimok, no. Sorry, friend.
Next to Vimok and says, I think he is scared right now. So, Vimok, if I could have a moment. And he looks at the city watchman to try to get him to, like, separate himself from this before he gets hurt.
This man just called Vimok dumb.
Please, a moment of Vimok.
Yes.
It is okay. Oftentimes, people are dumb. They say others are dumb to make up for own their own inadequacies. Yes.
He says there is a black dragon that lives in the swamp, and that everyone knows it, but Vimak does not know this.
Well, this is because he is dumb. And and instead you think he is calling you dumb, but in reality he shows how smart you are because no one knows if they're black dragon.
Vimak confused now.
That was
I just
kinda-
imagine Carlin sitting there trying to sharpen his dagger.
Try to get you to think and just stop long enough not to be mad. This okay. If there is dragon, and we find, then you can come back and punch him in neck. To show him that he is wrong.
Right in the throat, right where Adam's apple is, right there. That hurt a lot when you punch someone in that throat.
Yes, this is, I think, acceptable. First, we find if dragon is in swamp, and if is, you will punch him in throat.
He speak it like it total truth, like everyone knows, but Vimak does not know this.
But if he is wrong, then he is the dumb one. Yes.
Yes, he speak untruth.
Then either he is dumb or is going to be punched in throat for knowing about dragon and not fighting. Would be coward.
Yes, Vimak looks at him and growls. "Arr." Walks away.
Yes, let us go find Fred.
Sits on a barrel or something.
Really thinking through that conversation.
Sharpens his blade. Hmm.
That poor city watch.
Yeah, if you look
don't-
back, he's not like shaking, but his stuff is definitely a little disheveled. His helmet, his metal helmet, is not sitting on his head quite right. And then you also see Carlin, who is just trying to like be out of the way and trying to like stay out of people's business. He's kind of doing that meme of the kid with the drink in his hand, where he's just like his eyes are moving
You
back
don't
and
see
forth.
me. You don't see me. You
Yep.
don't see me.
Just kind of like shaking in his boots, like, please don't acknowledge me. Please don't say anything about me.
Fred, how many rooms do we need to search? I do not think we will get 2 opportunities. We may need to split up.
So really quick, everybody make a perception check for me.
Yeah.
Me too. Or
Oh,
just them?
hey.
Everybody.
Oh, it's just click the button, Nicole.
I did
Hey.
better than last time.
Same.
So
I did not so great.
Uthar, Hawkeye, and Freddy would have noticed this. Vimak and Ureva, apparently, it's not something that you were really paying attention to. Probably because you don't live in civilization where locks are used. But on all of the doors you have seen so far in this roadhouse, none of them have locks. Only room that's locked actually this bottom room right here.
All right. Yeah, Hawkeye came out to actually see that.
Actually, okay, so I'll have to
Wasn't
retcon.
that the one that Hawkeye went in
Yeah,
and
I'll
out
have
of?
to. That's Bog Luck's room, so I'll actually have to retcon that. So Ureva, you'd have to be in, because that door was locked, so you wouldn't even out.
Okay, wait, so where am I moving?
I already moved you.
Oh, okay.
The room
oh, yeah,
just.
you did.
Yep, the room just above.
Then cancel that whole. Whatever. I panic moved.
That's my bad for not catching that. Yes, this room down in the very bottom left corner. It's the only room that is locked.
I say I can only see the room I'm in because I'm behaving. So this is just.
Well, Uthar, unfortunately, we only have one set of keys. We don't know which keys go to which lock. But from far as I can see, there's only one that would require it.
Yes, it does not look like security important here, except for that door. Unfortunately, that door has quite the audience. If they're not going to want us in there, we are going to have to perhaps get everyone to go outside. First thought is fire. This is probably not a great idea, but if we start fire, they go outside, fight fire.
Uthar, as effective I think that solution would be, I think that's a last-ditch effort at this point.
Getting them outside or starting fire? Fire is not a good idea. I admit this.
No, getting them outside, great idea. Fire, yeah. Let's try and find something else.
I could make a sound outside that sound like like people
Big
coming.
boom.
I have an idea.
Okay.
They don't know what's in those carts. Yet. And everyone here is only here for money.
Do they not know? Wouldn't...
Like the guardsmen, they're all here because they're getting paid. They don't want to be here. They would lunge at the opportunity to line their pockets with more.
I'm not a big fan, but I also worry that he looks over towards Ardred, that the slaver man over there would not care for this. We may get some out, but we may have to deal with him. Also, I guess he doesn't have a name. The veteran guy at the bottom corner. He was also not particularly excited by the gold out front.
Ardred was only hired to escort the workers to the roadhouse. They can help clear this part of the swamp. All of his workers are gone.
It is worth shot. We will have to take these on our tab though for repayments to churches and such later.
Of course.
Hawkeye puts on Ureva's boots, by the way.
Okay.
And then she'll like inconspicuously walk over here to where the rest are.
So just so nobody gets confused, Ureva and Hawkeye had a whole conversation.
Yeah.
I told you to RP that girl.
Wait, you saying she didn't just steal your boots?
No. So what happened was I had Greg be like the little messenger. And so he came flying back to me saying that she has eyes on her, and then I walked over like inconspicuously to ask if she's okay. And then she said, yeah, just many eyes are on her. And then she's like, perhaps you can use the boots for the time being. And then I asked if she's sure. And then so I put on the boots, and then that's when I'm inconspicuously walking back. And then I'll whisper in Mr. Freddy's ear inconspicuously that like, hey, Ureva has eyes on her. And then she kind of like nudges to look at the boots that I'm wearing.
Eyes on you for what?
Eyes on Ureva.
Okay.
I think she might be guarded because Mr. Little Bird here, as she points to her shoulder, she's all whispering this in like very, very sneakily. Said predators, that she's being watched, and that she must remain still.
Makes sense. Ureva did cause quite a bit of trouble yesterday. And that's why we're having you be the one to go with Jamna here and look at the door. Because you go a little less noticed than I think anybody else in our party. If you're okay with that.
She nods and then has the boots on to hopefully make that a little more sneakily available.
Speaking of which, Jamna,
I'll go in between you two then.
Jamna, I'm going to try to get everyone outside real quick using the gold out there. Try to use that time to the best of your abilities with Hawkeye here.
Is that okay, Jamna?
Great. Jamna looks up at you as she's leaning back on the wall next to her room. Okay, are you ready now? Got all your little ducks in a row?
Technically, it's a pigeon, but yes.
Okay, so we're moving on with this distraction. I'd like to get into that room now and stop wasting time.
Yeah, Freddy's already walking away. So,
I would have. So Freddy's
Ardred,
gonna make a distraction. You got this.
Freddy's talking pretty loud, so like everyone, not in this room, but like in the next rooms too, can like pretty audibly hear it.
Like so.
So Ardred, what's our plan next?
Ardred turns from his conversation with the two figures next to him, and he regards you with a little bit of contempt. Oh, no worries. We have our position under control. I think it's just a matter of waiting this endeavor out for the time being. He can't help but feign that he can't help but feign like he's giving you all the information, so he's definitely kind of eyeing you up to see what you're going to do and what you're going to say.
Well, I hate to throw another thing on your plate, but what are we going to do with all that gold that's sitting in those carts outside?
What do you mean gold? That's all supplies.
See, that's where you're wrong. Because of the unsavory nature of the workers we're escorting, there's a lot of loot out there.
At that point, everybody here like cast thaumaturgy to get really loud. Uthar went outside and basically went to ripped one of the tarps off, the one right next to him, went, "There, God, look at all the gold!" And it sounds really cheesy, but
Okay.
he wants it to be very awkward, but it's also super loud.
Freddy, please make me a persuasion check. Okay. So when the people start hearing this, and then some of the guards at the door hear Uthar talking, they all kind of look at each other with confused expressions, like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, when these two guys kind of lean out to look, he grabs a big, like, two big handfuls of gold and like just like lets it run through his hands back into the thing to like look at it. It's so much.
Yeah, there's so much. It's just falling from his fingers, and he doesn't care.
Yeah, really
But
making a
the
show out of
gold!
how much gold is out here.
Captain, you might want to see this.
Well, when they do that, he goes over to the next one and does again, rips the top off. There's more gold in this one. This one.
Oh, look, there's more gold in this one.
What's behind door number 1? What's behind door number 2?
All right,
I imagine
Ardred
there
kind
must
of
be gold in every car. Riley, no.
Ardred kind of unceremoniously pushes past you, Freddy, and he's looking out the doorway, and he sees all of this gold glinting in the light as well. And then right away, he gives an order to the city watch captain to go investigate. Now, a lot of other people are congregating out this way see themselves looking through front.
Sir, surely even if those were just supplies, we need to get those inside. And especially now that we know that they're as heavy as they are, we're going to need as much muscle as possible. Let's get them in. Especially while it's daylight.
City Watch captain goes over to the carts and he looks inside. Holy shit! Aldred! There's a shit ton of gold out here! And everybody's kind of looking a little bit more excitedly at each other, like talking like, what the hell? What, like, I thought we were getting supplies. We're supposed to get wood and all this.
So at this, like, Freddy like kind of takes a glance back at Hawkeye and like nods quick in the direction of the door.
Nod, like side, like, you know, the side elbow, but it was actually accidentally against Jamna's head because she's shorter than Hawkeye. Like, oh, sorry, but we need to go now. That's a cue.
All right, let's go quickly before they notice.
And then she will sneakily walk over here with the gnome lady.
Please make me a stealth check at advantage, Hawk.
Yeah. I don't know what my new stealth is with the boots, but
They just give you advantage.
Yep, it's just advantage.
That's why it's with advantage, yeah.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh!
24 on a critical 20. Right, Jamna gets 17.
Oh. Boy.
Right, you easily make it across the way, opening up the door.
And then Hawkeye will go in. Oops, I accidentally closed it. In the door. Yeah, there we go. And then look around and then look at Jamna. All right, we're in. I'm going to close the door now.
Okay. So back at the front of the roadhouse, Ardred. All right, go on and ferret it in. Be quick about it. We don't want the cultists to show up. Many of the others run out and start getting the wagons ready and pulling them in. The veteran, I'll get some hoses. Walks back.
Freddy's gonna go out and help.
Okay. Walks back
Hey,
to the.
Well, by help, I mean make the
help,
process
but not
take
clear.
longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both of us are like getting in the way, but like, oh, yes.
like just pretend I'm so excited. I'm like fumbling with straps and whatnot.
Yeah. Constantly dropping things, just kind of in the way. It's the best way to describe it.
Can I roll a bit of a performance for this one?
Sure. First, so the veteran goes back and he starts getting horses ready so that they can actually pull the wagons. Go ahead and make a performance, both of you, individual checks.
On the side, after that, if we have to do any more stealth checks, I'm going to use Pass Without a Trace.
So pass
There it is.
without a trace, you would want to cast that first. It's concentration up to 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
So that's not a
plus
retro.
10.
That's more of a thing that you do as a plan when you want to be stealthy.
Yeah. I just realized that I had it. I forgot.
Yep, no worries. Like if
So
you're
I
trying-
have that on now.
If you're trying to walk through the woods quietly or whatever, you'd want that so that when everybody makes their stealth checks, they get.
Yeah, I did that now. So
Okay, go ahead and
John
click
I will
those.
get it.
Yep, go ahead and click those buttons.
And
Pass
then,
without a trace.
I think.
You gotta target, or you have to drag it onto the token.
Oh, okay. I'll just drag it
So-
onto us.
That is each creature you choose within 30 feet, including you.
Yeah. It's just
Okay, so
me
you and
Jamna.
Jamna. All right. So now, as you hear some of the commotion a little further away from the door, closing it behind you, you walk into this room, which is a warehouse of sorts. There is many supplies in crates and boxes lined up all around the room, making it a little treacherous to move through, as there is only like a bit of a pathway through. It seems like most of these supplies are things that can't be out in the cold or the damp and the mildew. There's also a door on this end that has a lock on it. Jamna, right away. Oh, quickly, over here. And then she fumbles with the keys, tries one, tries another, is not doing anything. Eventually, she finds a key that opens up the lock.
Let's mark these keys so we know what key we're using.
I got it.
Okay.
And then you
okay.
walk inside. Jamna closes the door behind. Good thing you have dark vision. You are now in this room. Has many crates and barrels stacked all around it.
Jamna, can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, I just didn't know if she had dark vision.
All right. Should we check the crates?
You check over there, I'll go over here.
I'll get the left, you got the right.
And she's looking around, opening up crates and everything. You find some more valuable items. Some of them seem to be personal, like they are the personal belongings of some of the inhabitants, which would make sense to be put behind a locked door with many people coming and going in this roadhouse day to day. Also, please make me a perception check.
Well,
Oh,
Jamna. Oh. Very clever, very clever. You hear her saying outside.
don't know what it. Put it in my inventory. I'll see if any of my companions know what it is.
What do you mean?
Oh, she said I found something, and she's like, "Oh, very clever, very clever."
Yeah, that was kind of like my prompt for you to come over and be like, "Oh, what do you find?"
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she says, look at this. There is a crate on the floor of the southeast corner. She pushes on one side, and you see it tip on its side to the north, revealing a trap door.
Jaw kind of drops like, "Oh, pretty clever."
There is a bit of a mildewy smell, damp smell coming from tunnel under.
Ah, it smells grody though.
Jamna is kind of peering down underneath. See anything in particular in this room of notice? But if you look over there, there are marks on the ground where crates and barrels once were that are no longer.
Oh, I got an idea. She has Renard with her, and then Renard looks in there, and then I don't know how big this tunnel is, but I can see if he sees anything, because he's an animal, not a person. So he will be a little inconspicuous if anyone is down there.
So the tunnel appears to be big enough for any medium-sized creature to walk through. Not super easily, but like a little bit hunched. It's a little bit cramped, but definitely easy enough for a medium-sized creature, so the fox could. Also, at Jamna's mention, you do see scuff marks on the floor from dust and other stuff of crates and barrels being moved, and it does not appear to be in a pattern where they move outside the doorway. Which can only mean one.
Secret tunnel. So they move the barrels in and out of here. Should we follow it?
Domina says, I think this is our only chance. I don't know what your plans are, but I'm going to go down in this tunnel and scout forward. You should get the others quickly. We must move.
Are you sure about that? I mean, they're still our distraction.
And then she just, while she walks to the tunnel entrance, she turns around with a smirk and says, see you on the other side.
Oh, following her. I don't trust her.
Right. Hawkeye, you go down into the tunnel. There's a short climb down on some handles and footholds dug into the dirt wall. And it just seems like almost like you're in a giant rabbit tunnel going off into the darkness a little. You see Jamna in front of you, kind of walking with her weapons out, forward, creeping steadily at a consistent pace, but not running.
Well, I'll get out my scimitar then, because I see her things out, so I'll get out my scimitar to be ready. But obviously having her first, so if she gets hurt, that's not her. But I follow her with my scimitar out.
Okay. So as you travel along the tunnel, there's a few minutes time passing. Take us back outside for the time being. So Freddy and Uthar are aiding, air quotes, as the veteran approaches with a team of horses. And the others are kind of getting stuff ready, strapping stuff down, trying to get the horses set up on the wagons to pull them inside.
Uthar moves over to Freddy and in his ear says, perhaps now is a good time for us to steal away here. They seem to have this, let's say, under control. Perhaps we should see how things are inside.
Agreed.
Head inside, over to VMOC and quietly kind of go over to him and give him a tap and say, come, we must find others.
He's mumbling. VMOC not stupid.
No, VMOC, but we do need your strength. So please.
No. We need your smarts, VMOC. Come with us.
He smiles.
Arlen walks over. Arlen walks over. Hey, Freddy, what's going on?
Shut up, Carlin.
It's butter knife, man.
Carlin's so clueless to everything.
Being so mean to him for no reason.
It's the man with the butter knives.
We've broken into Bogluck's office, and they're taking a while. We're gonna go check to make sure that Hawkeye's okay.
Seeing Ureva, he heads over to the... This was the door they opened, right? This one.
Yes, this one.
This is Bogluck's room.
Oh, I wasn't zoomed in enough to see it. Seeing Ureva, but being pretty far away, says, they are very distracted. We should find the other.
Come,
The other?
Technically, he doesn't know that you're a shapeshifter.
That's
He just
locked.
knows that sometimes you're an animal.
Yeah, that's true.
That
It's
is
locked.
locked.
Sorry,
Yep,
it's locked.
that is
Oh.
locked.
Freddy will immediately attempt to unlock it.
With the locked door behind
All
us,
right.
did they not?
Nope, that's with your thieves tools. I think I added a skill check with your thieves tool.
Yeah,
Yep,
I know you
at the
gave
very
me
bottom.
one.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, Freddy, you fumble a little bit with the lock, but using your tools and your knowledge, you are able to open it.
All right.
Do I hear them doing this, or are we too far in the tunnel?
You're in the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also trying to be like quick and quiet, so I stow the tools, open up the door, walk in. Nothing but hay.
Where is little one and a lady with stick?
All right, so they couldn't have disappeared into nowhere. So Freddy's gonna look around and try and find some sort of trapdoor or portal or any other sort of nonsense.
Uthar's gonna assist in that. Do the help action.
Ready, hold
Instead
up.
of the actual door.
Uthar and Vmok, you hear behind you female voices. Quick, go get the others. And this is where we will end.
Just point of clarification from these two archer ladies,
Yes,
or
coming
like
from
the disembodied.
nope, the
Okay.
archer ladies.
Just making sure we didn't have like invisible ghosts on our jock.
All right.
Soon to be dead bodies.
Ryan, I'm sorry. I like you, but I always like you a lot less when you say it's time to end.
Understandable. Yes.
It'll be like
so
2 weeks.
nobody stealthed up, and you ran through when there were two archers still in the building. So we will see exactly what is going on with Hawkeye down in the tunnel underneath, following along in Jamna's wake in this tunnel underneath the strong room. And the rest of the party seem to have gone to a different door than what Hawkeye went to. So they are in Bog Luck's room. So we will join again, not next Monday, but then Monday after. We have to take a week off for some scheduling differences. And it should give me plenty of time to prepare a little more for you guys.
There you go.
All right, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. We're finally back on track with the campaign. Definitely got a lot of roleplay and got delving into backstories and everything. I'm actually pretty happy with how things are turning out. I'm getting more and more invested in these characters, so I hope you guys are too. Especially all those out there watching. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next session.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good session, guys.
Session, everyone.
All right, safe travels.
Will do.
Great rest of your week.
Thank you.
All right, there we are. Session 11. We're finally on the way. I think next session will be part 6. Yeah, because they're traveling in the, or Hawkeye is traveling in the underground tunnel. So, not next Monday, unfortunately, but the Monday after, we will join once again for this campaign, Hoard of the Dragon Queen. I almost said Dragon Wing. I also run another campaign, which is set in 4th edition, and that is every other Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Make sure to check that out. I uploading videos on YouTube. I've gotten a lot better, so they're coming along faster, trying to get you guys all caught up out there for those that want to. Also, check out my Twitter, of course, my YouTube. Give me a subscribe on YouTube to stay updated on when I upload those. Throw some likes on those videos. It definitely helps. Throw me a follow, subscribe here on Twitch as well. I would definitely appreciate that, trying to grow this community. Things I'm trying to do that your subscription and such actually helps with is just all the administration, all the extra work I'm trying to put in, especially with encounters, trying to grow that. Me and 2 other DMs, Sauerkraut, who plays Freddy in this campaign, is a DM in that too, and we're trying to get that be a lot more active. It is a lot of work. So any support whatsoever helps, even just people checking it out, growing it, so that we can get more people involved, more people that want to play, more people that like to watch and everything like that. You can also, as well as a subscription here on Twitch, you can also help out by checking out my Patreon if you wish to do that, and it gives you a little bit more for your buck. So you can actually make your very own Encounters boss. But for those who don't know, Encounters is a one-shot DOS encounter with heavy mechanics and tactics and everything, all the strategy. They've been doing pretty well so far. Been a lot of fun. We got some interested people gaining levels now that we are into it. But here we are, very end. Everybody, whoops, wrong one. Everybody is lined up at the bar for the final salute, a final send-off. Fill up all of your drinking horns. Give everybody a final chug. Thank you so much. This has been the Tavern League.